Hello, I am roaringbug and welcome to my Sims 4 speed build. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, or leave me a comment. And if you'd like, you can follow me at my various social media in the video description. So, today I am building a two-tone traditional house. And like most of my builds, I get my inspiration from Pinterest. So I found this house on Pinterest and I thought it looked like a really good house to make in The Sims. And right now what you're seeing is how I'm trying to do the basic layout of the house. So I used to just build a box and pull it apart, but I found that it's actually sometimes easier to do this method where you kind of do the front of the house and kind of work your way back. So most of the houses that I make, I don't have floor plans because it's hard to translate a floor plan in The Sims just because of scaling. Most of the time a house in real life doesn't really look good in The Sims because everything is measured in a gridded box system. So things that are slightly bigger or slightly smaller can't really be done in The Sims. So most of the time when I make a house in The Sims, I'm just trying to preserve the spirit of the design. And I've been on a roll making these suburban style homes. And, you know, I think they've been coming out pretty good. So this is a family house with a garage. And it's really weird to make a house with a garage in The Sims because cars don't exist in The Sims 4. So when you see a car that I'm going to put down eventually in this lot, it's just a debug item. So it's just a decorative item that doesn't have any gameplay. So it's just there for the look of realism. And like I said, it's just there to be pretty. So this house is just going to be a basic white house with a gray design on some parts of the house, just to give it a little bit more character. I didn't know what the back of the house looked like, so I'm just kind of making it up. And I thought that would look good, having just the gray on part of the second floor of the house. And right now I'm putting down these pillars, and these pillars, if you hadn't seen my other videos before, this is a debug pillar. So it's a pillar that only exists in the debug catalog. And if you're new to building, debug catalog is basically all the dress setting in The Sims that you can access by just entering like a key command. I believe what I usually do is Alt Ctrl C, open up the white menu bar, and you can just put in the key commands in build so that you can access them. And I'm trying to work my way out in, so I'm doing all of the exterior first. So right now I'm up to doing landscaping, and I just kind of wanted everything to be very manicured and very like orderly. So I'm just putting down a little bit of flowers in the front of the house, and I put this debug car, and I use this wallpaper to sort of look like a garage. There's like a debug garage fence in the debug catalog, but I don't always like to use it because when you are playing the game, it doesn't drop away with half cutaway walls. And I thought just one tree would be fine in the front. I think I put a tree in the back too, but I wanted a little bit more character in the front of the house. And I thought it looked really realistic to have this connecting walkway from the garage area to the front porch. And, you know, I've been trying to make my backyards look a little bit more interesting. I know in real life the back of houses don't really get that much love. They're usually pretty plain, but I wanted it to have some kind of character, so I put this bump out in the backyard area of the house. And I put this one platform here so I can put like a one tile raised platform in the back of the house. I'm saving raising up the house by one tile until I'm done with all the landscaping, because if you don't, all of your plants will jump up to the level that you raise the house up. So I'm trying to do all of that work first. So I think I've gotten really good at it, you know, doing all of the design work first and then working your way in. And I've been trying to, like I said, up my backyard game. So I've been trying to do like 2 forms of tiling in the backyard, and I decided to add this glass like patio thing in the back because it's always nice to have like a greenhouse in the backyard. But I've been making a lot of like separate backyard greenhouses, and I thought having something just covered and attached would look different. And I overlaid 2 trees so that it would look different too, because, you know, after a while you're using the same items, especially since I'm using a pack restricted build. I'm only using the base game only, just for accessibility, because I know that not everyone owns the same packs and not everyone owns the same items. And since base game is free, I just want to make sure anyone can have access to this build. And I don't normally do this, but I did this flower bed on the side of the backyard just because I wanted something pretty there. And, you know, if I used other packs, I would probably try to use like rose bushes, but rose bushes are in base game, but you'd have to pay for them. But all of these plants, since they're all debug plants, they don't add any extra cost to the build. This pillar, since it's a debug, I had to double it up in order to get it to the right height. And like I said, I just raised it up just by 1. Because if I raised it up more, it would look strange for the garage. And now I'm just adding some tufts of plants just so that it looks a little bit more natural and a little bit more slightly overgrown. Just because if it's too perfect, it just looks weird. So I thought a little bit of tufts of plants everywhere would give it a lot more of a natural feel to the build. And now I'm actually furnishing, but just for the back first. So I want to do a barbecue with these planters, and now I'm doing the lighting. So these are, like I said, just base game lights, and frankly, they're the best lights. The pendant lights and like these tiny like wall lights. And I put a monkey bar and a hot tub, because why not? And I put these trash cans, but they're debug trash cans, just because, you know, you want to have recycling bins. I don't know, I feel like that's realistic to have recycling bins. And I'm putting a little bit of terrain dirt, just so that the house has a little bit more shading and it looks a little bit more part of the landscape. And now what you're seeing me is placing all of these pillars outside of the build. Because they're debugged, they don't snap into place. I'm just kind of placing them freehand so that they don't poke inside the build. Because, I don't know, they kind of look too bright when they're inside the house. And I'm just putting down a bunch of lights. I'm not really thinking too hard where they're going to be. I just need to illuminate the inside of the house. And just doing the same white wallpaper everywhere. I kind of found this wallpaper that has the wooden partition panel on the bottom part of the wall, and I thought it looked pretty realistic to what's in actual homes. So I ended up putting this, I don't know, this living space here and this long room that will end up being the kitchen area. And I thought the layout looked very good. I mean, normally when you try to do a floor plan, it's kind of hard to make it work. Because sometimes spaces are hard to gauge in The Sims. So, you know, I usually try to make things make sense, just remembering like what you want to put in a build. So a living room, Not necessarily a dining room, because sometimes you don't need it, but you definitely need a kitchen and a downstairs bathroom. I tried to put at least one bathroom per floor, but it really depends on the size of the build. But this is a decent size house. So I think you could probably fit either 6 to 8 Sims, depending on how many beds you put in the house. But yeah, it turns out to be a pretty sizable family house. So that's the kitchen. It's just a brown 90s kitchen. And I put a bar here, and I use the upper cabinets in order to create this centralized area for the bar. And normally I would try and cut out decorating bathrooms, but I left them all in because I don't really spend that much time doing bathrooms. And when you're using only base game only, you can't really get too creative doing bathrooms. So I decided to put a little dining table in this kitchen because I had the space for it and I thought that would look good. In my living rooms, I always try to put TV, books, and a radio. So I'm trying to like cover all of my bases with the living room. I've been using a lot the radio that is like, it's like the Sims version of Siri. It's like a speaker that you can have your Sims actually talk to. And now I'm moving on to this garage space, which is just going to be a skill building room. So I put all of the skill building items that help your Sims. That's why it has like the computer, the easel, the piano, and I thought I put in some rugs. And in this area, I'm going to put a chess table because it's a great skill building item. And trying to add a little bit of decoration in this room because, when you have the walls being bare, it just looks too empty. And I just wanted to put just a little bit of decoration. I'm not heavy-handed with decoration anyway. And I always use a bed in order to try and map out my spaces. So I ended up making a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. And it's a pretty sizable house. And now I'm just changing out my lighting. So I went with the chandelier lighting because I figured that'd be more realistic because you'd want a fancier light in your living room area. And I'm doubling up on the lights by using moveobjects to hide a tiny saucer light in the light fixture. Because all the lighting in The Sims are pretty dark, and the saucer lights are like the best lights in the game. So in order to have the best of both worlds, I usually just hide a saucer light inside a light fixture. So right now I just put all the curtains in. I use the same curtain everywhere, but curtains aren't really necessary in The Sims, but I wanted the house to look complete. And I tried to make my house suitable for any life stage because this isn't really like a gameplay house for me, it's more of a build challenge for myself. So I tried to make a house that if you download it, a Sim of any age can feel at home in. So I put like the crib for an infant, a toddler bed, and like a bedroom for kids or / teenagers, because a teenager and a child it's basically like a normal bed. And I put these like movie posters. Normally I would just do like kid posters, but it looks a little neater when you use the movie posters in the build. So, I was thinking maybe this house is for like a multi-generation house. Maybe it's for grandparents and their adult children and then grandchildren. So I put 2 full beds in this house. So it has a lot of like blue tones. So this house definitely has a color theme and it's blue. I mean, there's a lot of objects in The Sims that are blue. But I think this looks very nice And, you know, I love this wallpaper because it just has different colorways. And I thought this room would just be blue and white. So I just wanted it to be very clean, very bright. So after a couple more decorations, this should be the end of my build. And thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the screenshots. Goodbye.